Joe Camilleri, welcome to Australian Musician.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
You've had many bands to play many different types of music. You've had the Falcons, Revelators, Bakelite Radio.
Yeah.
What did you have in mind when you created the Sorrows back in '83?
Just getting through the show, really. It was one of those things, I'm working as a coffee boy, right? And they didn't even like the coffee that I was making, right? But they knew I was a musician, and they said, why don't you do a Sunday afternoon? This is the way of giving me the sack. And I said, okay, I thought about it, and I said, and this is in the Cafe Neon in South Melbourne. And what was really nice about it, they were music fans. Chris and Harry were music fans, and it had a legacy of bringing on talent, So Colin Hay played for them in these early days, just a restaurant cafe. And he said, why don't you do a Sunday afternoon? And I thought about it, and I was on the bay trying to get some flathead, if I caught a flathead, I wouldn't know what to do, by the way. If I caught anything, I wouldn't know what to do. But and I had this record with me. We had a cassette player. That's probably why we didn't catch any fish, because we were playing music in the middle of the bay. But and I had this record called Another Saturday Night. This is a sort of Zydeco record, right? Compilation record. And I really liked it, and I used 3 or 4 songs off that album, that compilation, and put them, and end up being on Sonola. And so I tried to find the combination that they had, and I found George Petromoulos, and Steve McTaggart George was playing piano accordion, really great piano accordion, mandolin, guitar player. I had Wayne Burt, who was a great songwriter, great guitar player, who was the original Falcon guy, I had Steve McTaggart, classical trained, played with the MSO on violin. So it's a pretty heavy hitters, and a few others. Gary Young was there, Daddy Cool played with the Falcon. So I had some of the Falcon guys, and I said, well, shall we go and play this Sunday afternoon at this thing, And what are we going to call it? Well, we'll call it the Black Zorros, because it was a Greek restaurant, right? And he thought I said Sorrows, so he's written on a banner, Black Sorrows, and that stuff. And it was just one of those things that happened. Everyone was there, was so joyous. Or the audience was so joyous, and they were all friends, basically, 100 people eating squid and drinking wine and Sunday session, basically. No money, pass the hat around. And it was kind of like that. And that's how it was born. And out of that, we made an album called Sonola, which was, as I said, pretty much 50% of the repertoire that we had. We only had enough to do the thing, we had to rope-a-dope, right? So, and so that was kind of neat to do. And of course, we make a record. We go into the studio. AAV's just down the road. They were trying this. They had a new Harrison desk with a Sony digital reel-to-reel. This is kind of like modern stuff, right? They didn't have anyone to sort of take the bugs out. They got us in. I said, oh, well, I'll do it, because I kind of knew everybody in the neighbourhood, really. I'll do it, for, so it's X amount of dollars, And they threw in the engineer, right? It was kind of just to walk in. It was kind of like a demo for the machine. And out of that, we recorded 12, 13 songs or something like that in about 5 hours. Record was done. I didn't even get to hear the playback. That's how fast we were going.
Fast forward many years, and
yep.
We come to album number 21 for the Sorrows, Citizen John.
There it is, right there.
Yeah. Hold it up so we can...
There it is, Citizen John.
Have a look at it.
Citizen John.
So what's the process when you bring a new bunch of songs to the band for recording? You jam them out? How does that happen?
I normally do them in the studio. The clock's ticking. I have, this is old school stuff. This is kind of what you always have to... I'm used to that. So you got to punch the clock. and that has value to me. But of course, sometimes the songs don't work out the way that you want them to work out. You know, I'll make a demo. I had for Citizen John, I had like 25 songs or something. Me and Nick wrote 25 songs for it, and in different forms, different levels of finishing, you know. And so sometimes we would have the song complete, but we might be a verse short, you know, just like every, you know, Deadline Blues really, isn't it? It's all about kind of what you go, at the end of it, this is, you know, say, Nick, we're done. I can't do it. I've got to use this. And he says, and all of a sudden, yeah, he might pull out a lyric and says, let's try that, you know. Lover I Surrender is a good example of that, you know. It was a totally different animal, but we knew that it wasn't right. But the process is, we go in, I play them the demo of what we have, and that's the first time they hear it. That's the first, and then we go, and if I can smell it as a producer, you know, like you got to, so, and then we try it, and then we try a few things. It's about I give each song about an hour. If it's not in the pudding, it's not there. If it's not going to happen, and I lose a lot of good songs, you know, but I also find this wonderful energy and this thing that you can't, you know, the thing that we're always looking for, you know, just that little thing that makes you want to go back, thing that makes you want to record again, the thing that makes you want to write a song again, you know, because it's all on an empty page, really, you know, it's that's all it is. We don't have any more, anything else, you know, like it's easy to do. When we recorded Silvio was an accident, right? It wasn't meant to happen. I kind of recorded 3 songs that don't belong to me. I recorded Sitting on Top of the World, you know, famous song, but I had a thing on it, and I had a bee in my bonnet about it too, you know, I had a thing, you know, I had this kind of African thing, you know, because you're listening to that African blues, and it's, you know, it's kind of melted in with John Lee Hooker and things, and I'm sort of, you know, just kind of doing that. And I had, Silvio was just kind of, it's the 3 chords. You start at the 3, those 3 chords go from the start to the end. There's nothing, you know. And I've always been fascinated by the song, always loved the song, always jammed on the song. Always, you know, it's just kind of a little home thing that you do, you know. And I did a Nina Simone song, Do I Move You, you know. And it's another thing. I read her biography, you know, start buying her records, find this song and say, oh, this is really, the band can do this. And we play that song live, you know, occasionally, you know. And And so things just happen. They're not slated in. You know, I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not that guy. I'm a guy that, you know, untidy. We start here and we end up here, and whatever happens in the middle is kind of could be great. But you know, I'd rather die by the sword than be kind of, how do you say? You know, just kind of obvious. You know, your hits, I don't want necessarily all my hits to be at the end of the night. I want them, you know, start with the hits or whatever, you know. It's about it's what the band is. It's not what the band was, or it's what it is now. You know, it's a living, breathing, moving forward scenario.
Yeah. It's funny you're talking about that. There's a song, Storm the Bastille,
yeah,
which has some unusual and unexpected chord changes.
How about that?
It doesn't go where your mind would normally take the chorus.
But isn't that great, though? In its own thing, you know, we're always looking for sort of something that's original, you know. And I think that's kind of an interesting original progression, because it's as far away. I didn't do this on purpose. I just went there and I had a melody that did it, you know, and I said, hello, you know, and it really is that, you know, hello, you know, welcome, you know, we are now together, you know. And that was a slow song. Originally it was really a ballad, you know, but it kind of went on forever. And so we kind of sped it up, you know, a little bit. And you know, and I really wanted that song, and I really wanted I wanted to do it in a sort of weird for me, punky, a bit more punky than what I'm used to. You know, I'm used to the blues, and yet in its own way, it's a form of that. You know, and because I thought the subject component was so today, even though I put it back 300 years, you know. We have in Paris now. We're having a similar thing. You know, people aren't getting food. They're rioting. They're rioting in the streets all over the world. You know, this is kind of pretty much. Even though I said it and was said, or me and Nick said it in that space. You know, all those things exist.
Citizen John, why is that the title track?
Oh, you know, just you're looking for a track. You're looking for something to hang a record on. I thought Citizen John sounded pretty good as a title for an album, you know, and there was no Citizen Joe. That wasn't going to happen. And I thought that was also Citizen John's a pretty. You know, once again, you know, it deals with what's happening in the world today, you know, and shady characters, you know, it's a slice of life, and you know, even though he gets his just rewards, you know, but you know, it's all to the excess of everything, you know. He doesn't care about anything. He doesn't, you know, and you come across these characters all the time. And I think that, to me, you know, there's value in it. Both me and Nick thought Citizen John would have been a great title anyway for the album.
Way Below the Heavens has some gorgeous harmonies. Who were the people responsible for that? And did you spend quite a bit of time on the arrangement?
I didn't spend that much time on the arrangement, but Sandy Keenan is the singer, the harmony singer with me. So the harmonies on that was me, Nick Smith, and Sandy. And I struggled with that song. I struggled a little bit because it wasn't my go-to voice, you know, and I had to find this gentle thing, once again, about the Irish Revolution, you know, and I had to, and it was a love song, you know. He's going to be shot, he's going to die, but they're so strong, and he's talking about the love of his life and how he met her for the first time, and how she smelt, and how she looked, and and the touch of her hand, and all those things that are sort of valuable about around those things. And I had to have something pretty as far as the harmonies were concerned. And you know, me and Nick, we sing very high. You know, we're gals. You know, we sing like gals. But and Sandy was just the cherry on top. Really beautiful.
Yeah. You've got a pretty hot band. Or what instruments did you play on the album?
I played saxophone, harmonica, organ, piano. I've got all those people to play all those things, you know. But sometimes you do little things that relate to you, you know. Like I play bad guitar, but I can play good things, you know. But not necessarily through the whole song, you know. So and I'll have the idea, but I can't execute the idea, you know. If there's a better part, someone can play it better than me. Do the thing, because I'm a producer as well. I want the best I can get for the song, you know. I don't mind taking a back seat. I don't care about those things. I really don't care about that, you know. I just leave all that at the front door, and there's so much for me to do. I've got to check everything out, you know, because of the way that I said how we work, you know. You got to make sure that the feeling's right, you know. You can make as many mistakes as you like, as long as we're going somewhere. So I play all those things, and I play them badly, but there's a place for them, you know. If there's a place for it and it sounds right, like on Citizen John, I play the keyboards on that with John. John McCall plays a big share. I play also a big share of that concept, you know. John doesn't play the Hammond, you know, and I play the Hammond. So it's kind of a nice thing to sort of, I'll take that role, you know.
Yeah. I believe there's an interesting story about the guitar on the cover of the album.
Oh, well, this is the guitar on this album, where you can only see the headstock, is a 1954 Switchmaster. And I bought this off Karen Tolhurst, who I saw playing it. And I said to him, I love that sound on the guitar. And he said, I don't even need any pedals. You know, it's got 3 P90s on it. And he was going overseas, and it was one of his, one of his small collection of guitars. He said, I know you love this guitar, would you like to buy it? You know, I need some sweetness. And I said, you know, what you want? And he told me what he wanted, and I just said, I'll be there.
Yeah. You say in the bio that it's one of the hardest albums you've ever had to make. Can you expand on that?
I think putting the thing together is really difficult. I think as you go on, like if I take Sonola, you know, I did a whole bunch of Falcon songs, had nothing to do with me really, you know, I just wrote the songs, sang the songs, played in the band, you know. It was fun. There was no pressure apart from the record company saying, you know, I think you're going into a valley, you know, we need some peaks. If I look at it from Sonola, that once again, you know, people in white coats were dealing with it, I've got the end result. I'm now producing the record. I've now got a whole bunch of songs. The recording of the songs wasn't difficult. It was kind of trying to piece the things that were valuable, you know. On some levels, is it valuable for me to sing about the French Revolution or the Irish Revolution? You know, do I feel right about it? I don't take drugs. If I sing about drug taking, where does that put me? It's weird. It's a wacky thing. How do you put these things in perspective? How do you get it so everything is okay, you know, and believable and honest and real? Because that's kind of what it's about. You've got to be real. If you're not real, it's kind of not worth anything. It doesn't matter if you're A1 on the jukebox, A1 on the charts. It doesn't matter. If you're not real, people can smell it a mile away, you know.
Yeah. You've always said that you're not a heritage act because you never stop doing it. You're releasing albums all the time. Is it hard to strike a balance with new material and the hits when you're framing a set list?
I think it's very difficult. You know, it's very difficult in Australia. Like we've become sort of more of we play overseas a lot now, and so on some levels, when you're overseas, they don't know your back catalogue in the same way as they know your current music. So they judge you on what you are. You're kind of invisible on so many levels, and you can be what you want to be, and that's exciting. Here you've got to, of course, I celebrate my past. I love my past, you know. It took me a long time to understand that celebrating the things that you didn't, and you got the accolades that came with them, you know. I respect that and I honour it and I appreciate it. But I've got to also move along, and so what I do is try to put all those things together, you know. So there's new songs, there's old songs, there's things that we can do together, you know. There's nothing greater. You know, ask anybody, you know, whoever, when they're singing your songs, you know. When Paul McCartney's singing and everyone's singing his songs from start to end, it's the most beautiful, exciting, invigorating thing that you can have.
Joe Camilleri, thanks for your time.
Thank you, sir.